Hello everybody, welcome back to Kanga TV, home of North Melbourne fans, and welcome to the Round 17 preview. A very special preview here on the channel. Thursday night football, North Melbourne take on the Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium, a 7:30 kickoff for our 100th year in the VFL AFL celebration. It is going to be an incredible night. There are going to be so many special names in North Melbourne history joining in the celebrations, past, present, and hopefully some future stars out on the field once again. This is going to be a very big preview, so we're going to jump straight to it. The first part of the preview, I am joined by comedian Danny McGinlay. A lot of you may know Danny as the guy who writes the Western Bulldogs banners. He's a great friend of mine and was kind enough to have a chat with me ahead of the game on Thursday night. We will then go into all the team news and news from North Melbourne throughout the week. Just a little disclaimer before we jump into the chat. Danny and I did film this preview on Saturday morning before North took on Hawthorn, so there may be a couple of references to that game. Obviously the result hadn't happened yet and the game hadn't played out yet, and we all know how that one went, so hopefully it's not too much and not too confusing, and you guys still enjoy the chat we had. Nonetheless, he is such a funny guy and was so great to have on the channel. I'm very, very grateful to call him a good friend of mine now. I'll leave all of his links to all his socials and podcast in the description as well. I will see you guys on the other side of that for all the team news and North Melbourne news from during the week. Enjoy.
Okay, let's rock and roll. Let's talk footy.
All right. There's so many people in my WhatsApp groups who just don't know footy, and they seem to have the loudest voices.
What are they talking about?
Cooper Hines last night. I thought
Yeah.
he did some amazing things off the ball, considering it's his fourth ever game. He's gone, no, he needs to be dropped. He's shit. Look at his stats.
That's just footy 101, I think.
Oh, fucking idiots.
Hey guys.
Oh, hello. Hello, Kangas TV.
Welcome back to the channel. This is a weird one. We're doing a preview for the Thursday night game. Danny has been kind enough to join. Have you been on the channel? I've been on your channel, and we've done quite a few things together now this year, but I don't think you've actually properly been on Kanga TV.
We did that little sketchy thing with Sad Sainter.
Yeah.
Wasn't that? I was on your Instagram.
That was on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
But this is Danny's debut on the channel. Danny McGinlay, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to Kanga TV.
Great to be here in enemy territory. We for those who don't know, I'm the comedian who wrote the banners for the Bulldogs a few years ago. I'm back doing it this year, and it's now I could do some YouTubey stuff. You can go check out my channel. It's just nonsense.
I'll leave all the links in the description down below. It's a weird one. We're here on Saturday morning. North are yet to play. We play Hawthorn this afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's not talk about Saturday.
No, we'll just swiftly move on from that. Are you afresh celebrating a big win over the Swans? They gave you a bit of a scare.
Oh,
They
definitely.
did come back.
Yeah. I think if McCartan had played, we would have been in real trouble. When you bring back in Errol Goulden and Tom Papley, two of the best players in the league, and Isaac Heaney played his best game of the year, definitely, possibly the last 2 years. It was a bit scary, but I'm very happy for Bont's 250th. We got up.
Bont is one of a few players who didn't play in the first game between North and the Dogs this year.
That's right. Our injuries were Adam Treloar, Bontempelli. God, it was all I thought about for the first 5 weeks.
It was ages ago.
Cody Waitman, of course.
Yeah.
The story of the Bulldogs year is everyone's just talking about Bont and Sam Darcy, which is fair enough. They're both amazing players.
Yeah.
We didn't have Bont until round 4 or 5. Then when he did come back, we only had a quarter of them playing together, and then Darcy did his knee.
Oh, goodness.
And so we only had a little bit together, and now we've had 3 matches with them together, and things are looking good.
You're kind of peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I don't know if we're peaking yet. We've just been fixtured against some very beatable teams, all due respect to St Kilda and Richmond. But yeah, I'm not going to... There's a bit of a flat track bully about us at the moment.
So if that's the case, and North kind of look like they're on the rise,
Yes.
I actually thought the first game we played against the Dogs, in retrospect, was quite competitive.
Yep.
That first sort of 6 weeks of the year, we had that massive win against Melbourne, but outside of that, we didn't really do much.
Mm-hmm.
That game against the Dogs, it was probably 5 5 minutes in the fourth quarter that just blew the game open for you. How are you feeling going into this game, knowing that you were challenged by the Swans last night, who have now regained some key players and they're looking a lot more competitive? We maybe aren't at the same level at full strength as the Swans, but we definitely are on the rise, and our form over the past sort of 10 or so weeks has been excellent. How are you feeling going into this one?
I'm definitely nervous because North are improving slowly but surely. It feels like, I remember I used to do ABC Grandstand and we had a catchphrase of, North are good, I think. That was around 2018, 2019. And I feel like you're back there.
Yeah.
You're back at, North are good, aren't they? I'm not sure.
Something that I noticed against Carlton last week is we were really physical. Like, we just belted them.
Yeah, well, they looked scared against you.
They kind of retreated and retracted into their shell.
Yeah, it looks like that classic when you've got a coach who's under pressure and they're no doubt behind closed doors furious and given sprays everywhere. Players look more afraid to make a mistake than they're just protecting themselves. They're second guessing, and but suck it, Carl. But so I think you took full advantage of that, and we can do that sometimes. The Dogs, although from what I'm told, Bevo's back to being puppy dogs and ice cream Bevo, which is what he was like when we won the flag. Not angry Bevo of certain other years since then. But if he, gets in a mood and you guys get dangerous, we could be in trouble.
When 2019. Brad Scott left and Reece Shaw took over in the second half of 2019, and that was quite an interesting time. Being a North fan, I kind of felt like we were really on the march and on our way back to being this powerhouse on field. Physically, we were so scary, and we would just go in hell for leather. I think Cam Zurhaar really made his mark on our side in the second half of that year because no one messed with him. He was, really physically imposing. Ben Cunnington with that really strong fend off. I think we need to try and get back to that. It's not always going to be pretty for North, but if physically we can be imposing and we can actually make sides intimidated and scared to face us, I think we could really use that as a bit of our superpower and make up for the skills that maybe we lack against better opposition like the Western Bulldogs. Yeah,
and that's probably the way to go against us. We are we've got a lot of nice boys. We've changed in the last few years. They've actually brought in some mongrels like James Harms, and there's some great footage last night. If you just look at the halftime siren last night in Dogs v Swans, there's a bit of a scuffle because someone's getting at Ed Richards. James Harms goes in there and he starts grabbing a random player, and clearly, I think it was Jordan for the Swans. Yeah. Clearly they're mates, or they've fought so many times because they're wrestling and then they lock eyes and realise who they're wrestling against, and they both get the biggest grins of like, yes, you're who I wanted to fight.
So James Jordan and James Harms played with each other at the D's.
Oh, there we go. That's why. So that's why they were so happy to fight.
To be fighting each other.
It's right.
Happy reunion.
Very wholesome.
Fighting turned wholesome reunion at the SCG. The other significant part of this game for us is it's our 100-year celebration. Now, the Dogs did have their celebration earlier this year. What was that like?
I'm going to tell you, it was a brilliant, magical night. I will tell you one stat that absolutely ruined it. Let's just look at this free kick count. 33-14 in favour of Collingwood. We lost by a goal. It was a pretty annoying game. Now, so we did this. We used the MCG as our home ground just so we could get more people in. Bob Murphy sort of read the story on the field. It was a whole production, and they brought out different decades best players or iconic players. So we had the 70s. There was Kelvin Templeton. Then there was the 80s with people like Brian Royal. Doug Hawkins was not there.
That's a shame.
Yeah, he was apparently annoyed that he wasn't going to be the first person walking out. Instead, they got Bob Murphy to do it. And so, he had a bit of an ego.
Oh, okay. Seems to be a running theme with these centenary celebrations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, we should talk about that. Then there was the mid-2000s, like Brad Johnson and Scott West, Rowan Smith. Then I know the Double O's was a few premiership players. So Tom Boyd was there, who I do a podcast with. and Ellie Blackburn, premiership captain. And it was magical, and there was fireworks and everything. And then I had a brilliant night because Tom Boyd snuck me and my 11-year-old son into the past players function, and there was everyone there.
Oh, you would mean who was having a better time, you or your son?
Me,
you,
without a doubt. He didn't care. He didn't know who these players were. At one point, I got a text message from my my mother-in-law's boyfriend, who's a brilliant bloke, but a Collingwood fan.
Okay.
And he texted me going, "Umpires love us, suck it." And I got a photo back of my son and Adam Cooney, Brownlow medalist, and Bob Murphy all giving him the finger.
That's so good.
But I was, even though we lost with a lot of brilliant players not there.
Yep.
We played so well. Umpires destroyed us, and I was surrounded by. I felt like a Make-A-Wish kid. It was, it was so brilliant. So I remember walking out of the G just 10 foot tall. But yes, when the Dogs were losing, I remember it was Lindsay Gilbey was screaming at the glass at the umpiring, and my son. They were the two angry people in the room. The rest of us were all having a great time.
It is frustrating, isn't it? Because I think there's such a build up to these big, milestone occasions, and then to just fall flat. I remember it was the 40-year anniversary, actually, of the 75 premiership side.
So that's 15.
We played Hawthorn in 2015. It was the start of 2015, and we just fell flat.
They were in three-peat mode.
I think we lost by 10 goals or something.
Yeah.
We beat them the year before in that famous Drew Petrie, Brian Lake stranglehold game.
Okay.
But 2015, it was the 40-year celebration, and we just got absolutely mauled. So I hope it's not a result like that.
2004, we had the 50-year celebration of the 1954 Grand Final, and they made, because it was just flags back then, so they actually presented us with the cup. They made cups retrospectively for everyone. And Charlie Sutton, who was still alive then, lifted the cup before the game, and I remember just cheering, going, "This could be the only time I ever see this." And then the D's flogged us by 80 points.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's obviously going to be a really, really special evening for everyone who can get down. It's a Thursday night.
Yep.
It was originally meant to be against Geelong in a few weeks' time, round 20. We play them here on a Saturday night.
Right.
And the club made the last-minute decision to move it and bring it forward for the Thursday night because we would get it on free-to-air, so we'd have all the pre-game, we'd have all the fanfare and finalia. I don't know if I love that decision. I understand the decision, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who can't make it who'd want to watch it on TV, but I know so many people who had booked tickets at the start of the year to be here for that game because that fixture was announced when the fixture was initially announced at the end of last year. And I just feel like maybe it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. We had a Thursday night game here a couple months ago against Essendon, and I really like Thursday night footy. And it's we just lost. Yep, thanks for reminding me.
Sorry.
And it's a great atmosphere, and it's awesome. But I do think that footy in Melbourne, and I think Australian rules football as a whole, is so focused around crowds and being at the game and atmosphere and the fan in-person experience, rather than other sports, maybe interstate or overseas, where it's a lot of watching it on TV. And so for me, I just think maybe we've missed an opportunity. I don't hate it, and I'll be here regardless. But a part of me feels like maybe they should have just stuck to the original plan. Yeah,
Thursday is awkward. I would, to paraphrase Bob Hawke, any boss or teacher who gets annoyed at a North Melbourne fan for not showing up on that Friday is a bum. 100-year celebration. Take your kids. Because my wife is quite strict with our 11-year-old. He usually can't go to night games, but I was like, 100-year celebration.
We got to go.
We're going. He's been to a final, and he went to the elimination final last year, and he went to the 100-year celebration and was able to stay for all of it. So it's important to go along and have these moments. I hope you go along, but you realise it's also a milestone game for us.
Oh.
Tom Liberatore's 250th.
Oh God! Okay, it's going to be. This place is going to be pumping.
It absolutely is, and I'm really sorry to spoil your party, but Libber is, without doubt, the most beloved Bulldog of a generation. We loved his dad. but we love him even more because he's just insane.
Yeah, he's wild. He's one, I do really admire him and the way he goes about his footy. I don't think that anyone could really say otherwise.
No, but also, have you ever met him?
No, I haven't had
He's
the pleasure.
insane.
You'll have to introduce me.
I would love to.
Done.
But he seems to go out of his way to always give you an answer that you're not expecting.
Yeah, okay.
And he does that all the time with everyone, but he's really lovely. So I've
Okay.
seen him talk to kids and he's saying weird things to them just to make them laugh. And he's just such a pure soul. And we love him so much.
He knows his audience.
He knows his audience.
Love that.
There's great footage. If North fans might not have seen it, just put into YouTube Libba on the field after the grand final. Someone from the cheer squad interviews him, and he answers all the questions as if he's just won the Ashes. He's just so insane. So we are probably going to lift for him. We might get a bit of a hangover because it was Bont's 250th last night.
Oh, wow,
so
it's a really big fortnight.
Absolutely.
Big week, I should say.
Yeah.
At the Bulldog camp.
Our two Italian stallions are just going. Yeah, they've hit their milestones 2 weeks now. Libba's quite older than Bont, but he's had 2 knee recos. So, and Bont's luckily been mostly uninjured for his career. So so I mean, with you guys celebrating your centenary, us celebrating Libba, it will be a love fest.
A huge game.
Absolutely,
actually.
yeah.
That just adds, I think, another layer to it that I didn't know was there half an hour ago. So makes me even more excited for it.
It should be brilliant. And do you know what it was like when Caleb Daniel played his 250th for you guys? 200th. Libba was in your rooms presenting him with the,
Amazing.
I don't know, whatever he gave him, a colouring book or whatever you get for 250 games.
Pat on the back.
But it just shows how good mates they still are. So I would love it if Caleb came into our rooms and presented Libba with an equivalent thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not? It's a love fest.
we're
A
a
love
love
fest at Marvel on Thursday night.
We were talking off air that our presidents are good friends.
They are.
So, yeah, we're all... Originally, I believe, there was a bit of a rivalry between our two clubs. We're talking, like, 120 years ago, like VFA, early VFA days, because you were the Catholic club, we were the Protestant club.
Okay.
But most of Australia got over that very quickly.
Oh, that's good news.
I
I'm
think
glad.
around World War I was the final death knell for it, as
Great.
far as I know.
Okay, I'm glad we're all friends again now.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, sort of. But you also hated Essendon a lot more.
Yeah, well, that still rings true for a lot of supporters, I think, and actually just the majority of the competition, to be honest. Thursday night, a tip. How do you think this one's going to go?
Very close. It's going to be an absolute squeaky bum game. I feel, look, I've always got to be chronic optimistic that I want my team to win, but I've got a vibe of, do you remember the first Good Friday game?
Yes, I do,
I
sadly.
think we won by 3 points.
win
We
by
were
3
reigning
points.
premiers. You guys, it was expected we would win quite comfortably.
I think we got up to a really, really hot start. I think we got out to like a 4 or 5, maybe bigger lead at various parts of the game, and then the Dogs just came back with a vengeance.
Yeah. We had a good, and we had that other game against you later that year that all I remember was there was one of your players having a shot for goal and just took way too long, and once he called play on, one of our players ran up and bang. I think it was Sean Higgins who got tackled.
I think it was 1 point that game.
Could be, yes. Yeah, that feels about right.
I think it was 1 point, yeah. We've actually had quite a few close encounters, but then recently it's been sort of either 3 or 4 goals or like a massive blowout.
Yeah.
So I hope it's 3 or 4 goals, but in North's favour. Danny, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you,
and coming
Marnie.
back to the channel.
For those fans of this is leaguetees.com.au. They do brilliant t-shirts. There's a lot of great North stuff on there. I think there's a t-shirt of the elephant on Arden Street.
Okay, a bit of history.
Yeah.
That could be a good one for Thursday night.
Wearing the elephant.
Yeah, why not?
Or just bring in the elephant.
Just actually come in an elephant onesie.
That's great.
There you go. If anyone wants to do that, it's a little bit of an idea for you if those like to dress up.
Oh, and you also celebrating the 2024 AFLW Premiership.
Yeah, we're celebrating all of our premierships.
So really, this should be the Emma Carney Cup.
The Emma Carney Cup.
Even though it's in the men's.
That's okay. I love it. Let's just go with it.
And best on ground gets the Jose Romero medal. You're too young to remember, but he was brilliant for both our clubs.
Daniel? Not
No,
the Caleb
Jose.
Daniel helmet?
Oh, the helmet's there.
That's good.
Yeah. You get both.
Okay, great. There's medals for everyone.
Yeah. Everyone gets ranked on different players, but the best gets Jose Romero, second gets Caleb Daniel, Third gets the worst two get Barry Hall and Scott Thompson just fighting.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a really, really good one. And for the absolute worst, they can sit and watch Josh Bruce's performance from Good Friday a few years ago.
For the worst North player, they have to sit as punishment, sit in the
Yeah,
corner,
and
think
the
about what
worst
you've
Dogs
done.
player has to watch Jack Zeebel's match-winning goal from 2018 over and over and over again. And I'll join them because that's my favourite game.
Yeah,
of all
sweet.
time.
I'll sit with the North fan and watch Josh Bruce.
Done. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
I hope you guys enjoyed that chat with Danny. I think a little bit of light relief is much needed before we jump into these team changes. 5 changes for North Melbourne on Thursday night for big injuries. Luke Parker, Luke McDonald, Jack Darling, and George Wardlaw will all miss Thursday night's game. Zach Fisher, the other omission, he is injured. In comes Finbar Maley, Zane Dersma, Bailey Scott, Will Phillips and Cooper Harvey. My first thought is that Luke McDonald misses this game, and I'm just heartbroken that he isn't going to be out there. I feel like that's an opportunity that's been robbed from him wrongfully. I don't mean any disrespect to the guys that are going into the side on Thursday night, but I just don't see a world where we get close to the Bulldogs looking at that team. And it's really frustrating because I was really hoping for a big response. And I would love to be proven wrong. Don't get me wrong. Of course I'd love for someone to prove me wrong here, but that's just sort of a knee-jerk reaction to seeing that side. There are some names there that I like. I'm interested to see how Zane Dersma goes. There's been some rumours floating around in the media this week that he's apparently unhappy and doesn't seem to be enjoying his time at North at the moment. Well then, show us that you deserve to be playing senior footy over some of the other guys that are available. Seeing Bailey Scott come into the side as well makes me think maybe he'll be pushed to halfback. He has played that role before, albeit not fantastically. Potentially, Finn O'Sullivan will come off the wing and move more into a defensive role in the back line. Will Phillips, I think, is a great addition. Unfortunately, I don't see a world where Will Phil plays in this side when our best midfield is fit, but with Parker and Wardlaw both missing, there are 2 big defensive midfielders in the middle of the ground. I think it'll be really interesting to see how Will Phillips goes. Maybe Dersma comes into the middle as well. Potentially he plays a bit of a defensive role. Finbar, he was great when he came in for Paul Curtis earlier in the year. It looks like he'll be doing the chopping out for Sherry. I'm interested to see how that dynamic works and how the forward line looks without Jack Darling, his footy smarts and the way he knows how to help the structure of the forward line has been a really, really big positive for us this year. But Finbar is an incredible mark overhead, a great, strong, contested mark. And I have no doubt he'll be really eager to play his best footy. Cooper Harvey is an interesting one. I know he's played some okay games in the VFL, both in attack, and he's been playing defence the past few weeks, but I feel like he plays more of that attacking role off the halfback the same way a Kirch does or a Daniel, so I don't know how he fits into that side and how we shuffle the magnets. Potentially he's the sub, and Robert Hansen Jr. plays in the forward line to start the game off. They say when it rains, it pours, and it's pouring at Arden Street. One thing that frustrates me the most is we've had a relatively clean bill of health for most of this season, and now we seem to have the same position. Every player in that position is injured. You've got no one to cover for Luke McDonald. You've got no Aiden Core who can play small. You've got no Archer. He's injured. No Godard, no Bergman. Don't even have Darcy Tucker. It's and now Luke McDonald as well. Charlie Comben also will miss. Eddie Ford, who had shown promise in a defensive role, also injured. I mean, it's just crazy. And we could barely get near them when we had most of our best players in the side in round 1. So I don't know how this one's going to be. I wish I could be more excited and optimistic. And it is such a significant evening for our football club. But I just don't know if our depth runs as deep as we need it to cover the losses on Thursday night. What do you guys think about that side? Unfortunately, it just doesn't seem like there's much we can do. I feel like we've probably picked the best available to cover those players who have gone out, given what we've got. And so I guess we just have to hope we're really, really on, and hope these guys are all playing for their careers and playing for best 23 spots and give it 110%, and the Dogs are a little bit off. And we can somehow make a bit of a scrap and a bit of a contest out of it. But yeah, looking at that, unfortunately, it's not filling me with too much confidence heading into this one. And finally, to round out the news from North Melbourne this week, a couple of contract extensions. Colby McKercher has signed on for an additional 2 seasons, keeping him at Arden Street until the end of 2028. And late last week, Tristan Sherry, our should-be All-Australian ruckman, has extended further his contract until the end of 2031. I think the buy-in from the playing group is really, really important, and I think we've seen that in spades over the past sort of 18 to 24 months. On field, we've definitely seen a more united front, particularly over the 2025 season. We've seen a lot of improvement. We've seen 4.5 wins to this point in the season, and hopefully a few more tangible improvements and ticks to come, a few more wins under our belt before the end of the season. I do think that Colby signing for a couple of years is very encouraging. It means that he obviously believes in where the club is headed, but like a lot of us, he obviously wants to see a little bit more tangible improvement, and hopefully the improvement that we're seeing to the naked eye week in, week out translates to wins, if not before the end of the season, then definitely in 2026 and beyond. And I think the next couple of years are going to be pivotal in keeping him and keeping a lot of our other young guys. Like I said, I think the buy-in is really important, and I think we are a really strong and united group, and I think that majority of the players do really believe in the direction that we're going and believe in Clarko and believe in the leadership and the board and, you know, the general direction of the club, which is amazing. And I think most players are really happy, and we've seen some big names who had been linked to other clubs like an LDU or a Zerha. They both recommitted to North Melbourne, and we're seeing, you know, the likes of Shees at the start of last season and Charlie Comben and quite a few players. Obviously, Suv and Jai, they were sort of the first couple to recommit to the club. I think it's so important, and I think these things are as important as being able to get wins on the board and to see the improvement, because knowing that the players are really committed to where the club is going in the future of the club, particularly those high prized first round recruits that are always linked to other clubs, you know, especially those who are here from interstate. So that's awesome news for both of them to recommit to North Melbourne, at least in the medium future. Obviously X is on that longer term contract, but for Colby, I think I don't blame him. Tasmania, we know he's going to come into the competition in the next few years, and he is originally a Tassie boy, and hopefully we can do enough in the next couple of years in terms of turning it around on field, more wins and moving up the ladder to want him to want to recommit to us long term. So we'll take what we can get for now. I think it's epic news, especially on the back of Joey Montagna's reporting just last week that Colby McKercher was potentially going to look elsewhere in the immediate term. How are you guys feeling about tomorrow night? Speaking of immediate term, we have got a crazy game ahead. We've got our 100th year celebration in the VFL AFL. We've got Tom Liberatore's 250th game, and hopefully a massive crowd at Marvel Stadium. Leave all your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know if you will be heading down to Marvel for the special event. We can keep chatting over on socials, Kanga TV show, across Instagram, X, Facebook and email as well. One final thing before we wrap up the video, I just wanted to say a massive thank you once again for all the support you show me and you show Kanga TV. I wouldn't be here without you. It has been a really crazy week for me personally. The opportunity to sit down with our president, Sonia Hood, was a real privilege and something that I don't take for granted, and I hope that I could shed a little bit of light on what she has done for the club and where the club is hopefully headed as a whole in the future. It is such a privilege to be able to share the highs and lows of being a North Melbourne supporter and the emotional roller coaster that is being a North Melbourne supporter with all of you here on the channel every single week, every single day. I speak to so many of you, and it's a privilege and it's an honor, and I thank you so much for being here and for trusting me and for contributing to what will hopefully be a big part of turning this club around both on field and off. So on that note, have a fantastic evening on Thursday night wherever you are catching the game, and hopefully when we catch up for the review, it is a very, very, very happy and extended celebratory review at that. Go Roos.